Hey everybody, welcome to the socaldramtram. This is your boy Cesar.
And I'm Matt. And if you're new here, we just want to take a chance to say thanks. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. Also, hit the little bell for notifications. That way you know whenever we drop a new video. And if you're a returning viewer, hey, we appreciate you sticking around. But nonetheless, everybody, smash that like button. Cesar, what do we got on the bar today?
Today we got yet another one, but a legendary one from
Got a legendary one. We about to go on a turkey shoot. That's right. We got wild turkey, Master's Keep. Hit it.
Boom!
Holy shit, where'd the box go? I like doing that if you didn't quite figure it out. All right, so we got a fun one on the bar today. We've got the brand new Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year bottled and bond bottling from, you guessed it, Wild Turkey. This is from Eddie Russell, who's the master distiller over there. And a couple little fun things about this whiskey. It's 17 years old, as I already said. It's bottled and bond, so it's 50% ABV, 100 proof. It was distilled in a single season, obviously, because it meets all the bottled and bond requirements.
They got a federal guy sleeping right next to the tank.
Exactly. And Eddie Russell basically said, hey, you know what? My favorite one is the 17-year-old that we've already done. I want to take this, bottled and bond and make it, just that much better. So they took it from 4 years and then took it to 17. So that's kind of nuts already. And if I'm not mistaken, this is only the second bottled and bond release from Wild Turkey. Their first one, I could be wrong on this. I want to say it was in 2005. I think it was called American Spirit. This is not the first 17-year-old that Wild Turkey's released. But again, Eddie Russell, who's the guy who put this together, he's a master distiller. The 17-year-old was his favorite bourbon that they've done, so of course, he's going to try to do it himself.
And everyone knows the second child's always better than the first.
Middle children are the best. Hey, love you, sis. I'm the second one. This is going to be from Warehouse H, if I'm not mistaken, and even though I've never had a Russell's Reserve single barrel pick, from what I hear, those are the ones you want to seek out, are the ones from Warehouse H. Now watch me get it wrong, and this is going to be from a different warehouse, and somebody will call us out in the comments, but hey, that's all right, that's okay, because we're here to drink.
Hey, and we want some of that Warehouse H if you know where to get it.
Exactly, right? One day, when this damn pandemic's over, we're going to end up out there at some point. We're going to go on that Kentucky Bourbon Trail because I think it's just going to be too much fun for us to have and us to not go. It's definitely on our list to do at this point. But nonetheless, this bottle is kind of gorgeous. A little bit of a story about this bottle and how I got it. I was at Total Wine one day. My wife and I decided to go get some lunch, and we drove past, and they were actually limiting people for capacity with the pandemic and everything. And so I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to get in there. That kind of sucks. And so it was like, all right, let's get some lunch and we'll go back and see if it's still busy. So we ate our lunch, we came back, and fortunately it wasn't too busy. So we hopped in line and we got almost right in. And I went to the whiskey aisle, and the whiskey aisle at our Total Wine is always packed. Like there's always 5 or 6 people in that aisle to begin with. If you're busy, there could be upwards to 10 to 15. So of course, with social distancing and all that stuff, it was kind of a nightmare. But nonetheless, there's this stock guy, and he's pulling down a box, and I can tell, I see it says Wild Turkey Master's Keep, and it's on my radar, and I'm like, I bet you that's it. Like, I can see it says Bottled and Bond up there, and I'm like, dang it. There's so many people in this aisle, I'm not going to get it, right? So I just kind of mosey on. I'm looking at Balcones. I'm looking at other stuff. And I'm like, oh, hey, look, Balcones Mirador. I wasn't expecting to find that. I'll go ahead and pick that up too. And then I see the stock guy and he takes it down and he's talking to some other coworker and he's like, yeah, I got to get 2 for an order or something like that. He goes, I think there's 3 in here. And at that moment, I saw 2 other dudes in the aisle perk up. And I was like, oh no, this is mine. So I just mosey right on in there. And I said, hey, is that one still available for sale? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'll take it. So he literally just hands me the box. And the other 2 dudes give me this look that could kill. And I was just like, walking out with my Wild Turkey 17-year-old and my, Balcones Mirador. Review on that coming soon. But that was just a little bit of a fun story to share with you guys before we get into the whiskey. Just goes to show, sometimes you just got to shoot your shot.
hey, to me, like, I'm definitely not a religious guy, but hey, when things are meant to be, they're meant to be, and they're meant to be for
If
us.
you're meant to have it, you're meant to have it.
This was meant to be on the tram of the dram of the SoCal fam.
And we're going to share with you the dram fam.
Hey.
That's right. Well, nonetheless, let's get into it. So again, 17 years old, bottled in bond. We've had this. We've had it. We've sampled it a little bit. I cracked the neck pour a few weeks ago, and boy, oh boy, is it just delicious. We almost forgot to talk about our coins. I'm actually going to be using the Mash and Drum. Jason, shout out to you, good sir. I'm using his Series 2 drum kit coin. And on the back, he's got Neil Peart, which is, near and dear to my heart. I love me some Rush. Who are you using?
For my coaster coin, I'm using the Pokemon, and then for my topper coin, I'm using my Bourbon Junkie.
All right, so this is, once it gets some time to kind of air out a little bit, it just becomes vanilla caramel, some cherry. You get a little of that bready note. This is straight up, like Jason said it on his review of it, and I have to agree with him. This is like funnel cake at the fair. This is straight up like little bit of powdered sugar on it, fresh out of the fryer. I don't quite dig on like cherry syrup, but definitely some cherries in there because it is bourbon, so you typically get that. But 17 years in a barrel, you still get that oakiness in there. You still get a little bit of that pepper and those baking spices in there. What are you getting?
No, for sure on the smell, on the nose, you definitely get some of that spice of the oak, but you also get flesh, subtle sweetness, very, very flesh, very subtle. Let's see.
That palate is anything but subtle, though. It is so rich. That mouthfeel just takes over. The finish on this guy is long too, having had it, for a couple of drams now. We haven't killed a whole lot of this. It's just at the shoulder. By the way, didn't say it, but gorgeous bottle. It's comes in that huge box that you saw, 17 years, 50% ABV. It's about $170. I got it at retail. This is going on secondary for upwards to $400 that I saw the other day when I was looking online. I wouldn't pay $400 for it. But if you can get it at retail or right around $2, maybe $230, I would still pull the trigger on this for sure. And that's kind of giving away my score a little bit, but nonetheless, I'm okay with that because, again, I really enjoy this whiskey. We've had another Wild Turkey, just a standard Wild Turkey 101, and I really like it. When we first cracked it, I wasn't a fan, but as it got down the bottle, I really enjoyed that. And this takes those flavors of 101 and just amps it up tenfold, or 17-fold rather, because it's 17 years. The caramel notes in this just blow right the hell up for me. Caramel, vanilla, like there's a candy, like a very specific candy that I'm trying to place with it, and I can't quite get to it just yet. What do you?
That's incredible. So, oh my God, it's straight vanilla, like vanilla ice cream or vanilla wafers, but I think it's like vanilla wafers with like a medicated vanilla wafer. So you know how like when you get like medicine or like cough syrup or something, you get besides the flavor, you get the little bit of bitterness to let you know, this is medicine. And all medicines kind of have that base flavor, but they just try to mix it with everything else. This tastes like a really beautiful vanilla, very sweet, that's slightly medicated. Not medicated like it's NyQuil or cough syrup. No. Those are like 100% medicated. This is probably like a good 20% medicated, nothing overbearing, but lets you know it's almost minty, but so good. Like the deep, rich vanilla-ness. Folks, I asked this guy, I don't care for Wild Turkey at all. Like I really don't care for their juice.
You're gonna try to get Matthew McConaughey mad at us?
Hey, no, I don't care for Wild Turkey juice. Mostly probably because like it was the cheapest thing you found growing up. So when you're a kid and you find you go like a hey mister, you know,
wait outside the liquor store and hope your money comes back.
That's what I remember getting, and I just remember being like, but it does the job. But that's why I'm so repellent against wild turkey, because of those experiences. So Matt's tried to show me a couple wild turkeys. I think there's been one other one where I was like maybe like okay, it's not as bad as I remember. But this folks like this just takes a gun, and I can see why it's you know their master's keep, because it's so good. Like it gets someone that doesn't like their new make juice into loving it. So it's like wow, that this is definitely a really good job.
So I figured out the candy that I was kind of placing, and for those of you who've had it, maybe you've done this thing. You know, like when you're a kid and you're at the soda machine, you know what I remember, and like you take a little bit of everything and you just get this concoction of stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that with like those flavored Tootsie Rolls.
Okay.
Like you know those ones you can get vanilla, cherry, whatever case may be. So this is very specifically a vanilla, a cherry, and a caramel Tootsie Roll rolled in together and popped into your mouth.
That's
because
very
you
well
still
said.
get that oily Tootsie Roll candy mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. But the flavors are just so potent. And again, folks, for me, that's not a bad thing. Like, this is just rocking me back to my childhood, and I'm kind of digging it. You know, we'll say 15-year-old me is waiting outside the liquor store for somebody who's willing to buy me a bottle. Don't laugh. You know you did it. Yeah, this is something that's really good. I really enjoy this. Lots of cinnamon on the back end too. That's really the flavor that I'm getting. Less than pepper and more cinnamon, because it's not that peppery oak spice, but the oak is still there for sure. I dropped 3 drops of water on it. Did you put water on it yet?
Nope.
Okay. So with the water, it's not a tobacco-y note, but I get like a little bit of a cigar smoke.
A little bit more on this before the water, like. The finish, folks, it
goes for days.
Oh, it goes for days. And as it keeps going down, it's almost like, oh no, there's still more sugar left in that liquid. Here you go, it's just scraping down your esophagus, and it's just like, oh, that's so nice. Like
cut to the X-ray photo.
So
of Cesar's
good.
it
it is so good, so nice, because like. Once again, with things that finish very nice and strong is. I like to refer to as video game whiskey, because if you're an intense video game player like I am, then you don't want to get your hands off the controller for a very long time. But with Scotch, you know, you could get a little sip and then just well it in your mouth and take a sip. And then with that finish, you could just keep it going. So that nice sip will last you for a while you're playing video games like me. Ooh. So this is definitely some good high quality video game whiskey. Like if this isn't, or if it is a 4-finger pour for Cesar, it's definitely going to last longer than the usual time. But it is definitely very, very good. And for that price point, I mean, how much did you say it was?
$170. It's a little high, but for 17 years, and that it's like a limited edition, limited being 14,000 bottles, but it's limited. Like, that's not a bad price point for this.
Me and Matt have had bottles from like, you know, $16 to $700-800, right? And
have we?
Yeah, because remember when we went to McAllen's?
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't own that bottle,
but we got some.
That's why I was like, we have.
But we got some. So, anyways, for that price point and for all the whiskeys I've had in between those ranges of $16 to $800, amazing. I would buy this over
this is on
and
the
over.
Upper echelon of those flavors.
I would buy this over and over for that price point more than those other $400, $500 whiskeys I've tried.
Yeah.
So. This is really good stuff, folks. It definitely has my mind blown.
What are you getting with the water?
I haven't tried it with the water.
Yet. So specifically, I had to take another sip because I wanted to make sure it was what I was really getting. Like,
it's still not bad. It's still
no. It handles the water just fine, and I think that's less with the ABV and more with the years it's spent in the barrel, right? Like when you get, especially,
You get the
I've
maturity.
never been to Kentucky, but I gotta imagine it's somewhat hot. Like when you spend 17 years in a barrel in that climate, like you're just gonna be absorbing so much flavor, so much of those wood sugars, and for me. When you put a little bit of water on this, specifically, I had to really take a second sip and think about this. It is chocolate drizzled popcorn for me. Like there is a popcorn element to this with like a chocolate drizzle on it, like just a straight up dark chocolate drizzle. Like it's Popcornopolis at the mall, or that fancy red bag popcorn that you can get. And it's kind of blowing me away. Like at first when it was neat, it was very much that funnel cake that Jason had mentioned, and I would definitely agree with. But with the water, man, is it that chocolate covered popcorn for sure. For me anyway.
For me, I definitely get some vanilla frosting with the age of the oak. Like you could tell it's been in the oak, so the oak flavor is going to be there. But if you were to smear a little bit of vanilla icing on there, I think that's what the 17 years later would turn it into. So folks, I mean,
I'm just picturing Cesar in the barrel house, like looking out for security, and like the federal dude's like waiting to come and inspect the bottled and mod stuff, and he's like, I'm gonna lather this thing up with some freaking Pillsbury vanilla.
Hell yeah.
And somebody's like, no.
So folks, as far as rating goes, we're gonna get into the ratings here. As far as bourbon goes, in rating, folks, I would have never thought I would hear these numbers in a bourbon or in any whiskey with Wild Turkey.
I was gonna say specifically Wild Turkey.
Wild Turkey, dude, this is a 5.
Oh,
this is a 5.
Look at you.
As far as bourbon category, this is definitely considered a 5 for me. Like, good stuff. This is up to par with that, or even better than that Michter's I had that one day.
Oh, the single barrel from that guy?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 10-year-old, if I remember correctly, and it's good. But
it
yeah,
was very good.
This is kind of...
But
It
blows it away.
So if this were a race between those two, it's... This guy, pulls up alongside of him, and he's kind of pacing, and then he just hits the nos and goes.
This is that scene in Fast and Furious
exactly.
1 where
Monica!
Vin Diesel goes too soon.
Exactly. And then Michter show up and be like, I almost had you. He's like, you never had your car.
Yeah.
Everybody watching this video is like, man, they really like Fast and
Furious.
Furious.
The first one was so good. You can't hate on. Maybe the last ones you could hate, but not the first one.
We're gonna have a discussion later because the first one is just a blatant ripoff of the original Point Break. And Point Break is my jam. You know who I'm talking to.
Is that the one with the surfers?
Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves.
I still like number one. They didn't have no Ludacris or Ja Rule in there.
That's all right. They had dreamy, long, sandy blonde hair Patrick Swayze. That is worth at least 10 Ja Rules.
True, at least nowadays maybe, but not back.
All right, so my rating on this guy, or did you get all your thoughts out of the way?
Yeah, dude,
or did
5.
We just go with that Fast and Furious analogy.
5 to stay alive, man. I'm surprised Wild Turkey did it good this time. Master's Keep.
Yeah, so I have another Master's Keep that I haven't opened yet. It's the Revival. So it's basically their bourbon finished in a Oloroso sherry. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing that because I love my sherried whiskey. So let's give this a shot. Haven't cracked it open yet. This was the first one that I cracked for it. And I'm inclined to agree. The price is a little salty at $170, but once you taste it, you understand why. The craft, the care, the TLC that went into this bottle, it's a 5. Like 100%, this is a 5. We don't tend to match up. Hey, that's the first time we got both 5s. Yeah, both 5s. We don't tend to match up on scores a whole lot. We're usually within a number or two, but this is 100% a 5. The flavors you're getting in the glass, the amount of time that it spent in the barrel, the proof, everything. If you can find it, grab it. Especially if you can get it at retail, like I was fortunate enough to. I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you're a bourbon fan, if you love Wild Turkey, if you like Scotch, that's, a little bit deeper in its fruits, things like that, I would still say maybe not run out and buy a bottle, but if you can try it from a friend that's a bourbon drinker, give it a shot because I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's a 5 from me and it's a 5 from Cesar. But hey, do us a favor. It's not all about what we like. Hit us up in the comments. Have you had this Master's Keep? What other massive keeps have you had? Because there's a couple of them out there. Have you seen it in your area? I'm actually genuinely curious about that to kind of see where it's been popping up, because since that day I haven't seen it. But nonetheless, guys, hit us up in the comments and let us know. Don't forget to follow us at socaldramtram on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We love interacting with you guys there. We love interacting with you guys here. Hey, we love you guys. Stay safe and drink well. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. What about you?
All aboard. Catch you next time. Hey everybody, hope you liked that video.
Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications.
And don't forget to subscribe.